It's your boy Kamal Hart on the chart. It's November 20th, a Wednesday. Let's get it. So, lower lows, lower highs. That's a good sign. See if we can find something that's going to come up off of here. Not that great from there. See what it looks like on the lower side. That cuts it a little short too. So maybe we'll get that line. I kind of like this line better. So we could do something like that. We haven't had a break outside yet. First entry to this low, it's 548. So let's see where we go from here. Stack up bar, big push. I don't see anything here. Maybe there's a little bit of congestion, breakout. I don't see anything that's worth taking. And that one shooting up. And we're starting to get higher highs. Quick swing low there, but we're starting to break higher. So I'm going to keep that in mind. And on one level, I see it like this, a move, breakout, two legs, move to a new high. So I'm going to measure this leg, and then put that up there for my target. We're working there. And then here, little break up. Now we get the break below. What we want, I'm going to buy right above this bar. It's actually where I took my trade. Right there. So I entered on a limit, exited two contracts at the scalp. And then on my runners, I did pretty good holding on to this runner. And you notice how it came right to it, but it didn't get me out. So I almost, exited with the one tick cover right here. But I decided to keep my strategy tight and leave my stop below the previous swing point. So I left my stop down here and I let this pullback play out, and it took it a couple times, and then I finally got out right there. So that was a really good measured move target. I was pretty happy holding on past this little move there. And then to even reinforce how decent of a target that was, the way prices moved after hitting my target, with this big sell-off, that was a pretty big sign too. But if you notice in here, we're starting to go sideways a little bit. So we're still trying to buy, but we need to be a little careful. And then in here, there's a failed second entry right there, but I mean, you're really sideways at that point. I think you're better off looking at it kind of like this for the time being. I will see something there, a little range. False below, first entry. We need to get long down here or short up here. So I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything that I really like. High or low. It's right into these highs though. It's not where I want to go. See how that turns. You would have lost. Getting a this double test off the highs here. That kind of, when I saw this trade set up, this was a second entry short from this low, first entry, second entry, but that signal bar isn't good. But when I saw that little double top, I really thought, this is a trade that's going to work regardless of the signal bar. I didn't take it though, but something to note. That one goes all the way back down where you're expecting it. A break above here is just the first entry, so we're still going to have to wait, and it doesn't break anyway. And then here you get that two-legged move. There's a kind of like a bullish reversal bar. I would say it's a little aggressive to buy this, but we are expecting it to test this area. So that's just going to depend on your discretion. I'm going to skip this trade, but I know some people might want to get long there. And that one gives you a nice move. So if we continue, we're going to look for this breakout pullback sort of entry, right? That comes right back into our range. So now, let's see if we can make this a little bigger. Do that there, just so we can see this range clearly. So we got a range working there. Higher low, broke above the signal bar. You know, what I would see as well, and another reason why you might not have taken that trade is because you might see this kind of like a trend down. It broke out and never retested, but nonetheless, you know, here's a trend up. So we're going for that retest. But I'm not convinced that buying up here is a good idea. But when I saw this green bar, it's an inside trigger that touches the close, but you know, you're going long at these highs. So that's a trade that works, but just too risky to take in this scenario. Now you get this breakout. This is a second entry short right there. And get a little pullback. The reason why you're not going long there is you kind of had this breakout move higher, double top. I mean, this one might have gotten you. It's kind of tricky. I considered going long there, actually. But yeah, your best bet is that you had a breakout, retest. So even after this retest and a new high, you're looking for prices to maybe pull back. I would wait for a second entry long up here. And then there you get that lower high. That one goes off. And then here off this high, first entry, second entry, here's a failed second entry that's going back into the range. We have already crossed the midline, so that kind of makes me not 100% going short there. So let's see if that one works. I'm not sure what that one does. Okay, well that one never breaks below, so you're fine. And then here it sets it up. It's a better signal bar, so let's see if that gives us anything. And that one doesn't break below either. So I mean, after two chances now trying to get in and it never breaking below, I'm not sure if I'm still trying to go short, but let's see what we get. One more. And at this point, I mean, you are getting a pretty nice pullback, so that's pretty good. So if we break below here, there we go. You get that move that you were looking for. So you would have been watching for that trade starting about here, and it just never broke. You're just waiting for the break, and when it does, boom, all these longs, they get trapped. So that would have been the next trade I see. And that one would have really gotten you all the way over. You could have had a target down here, maybe another target over here at these lows. But yeah, that would have been a good trade right there. Now you're getting a bounce. See, but this bounce, see how it's set up back into the middle. So we're good. We need to wait for that buy to be lower. That buy's way too high for right now, what we're looking for. Okay. I just backed it up real quick. I don't want to show what was coming up. Okay. You get the move lower, nothing there. This is the higher low, but that's an inside trigger. Doesn't even break above. Breaks above, reverses. Second entry short there, but we're on the low side, so we're not, this is getting too messy. A little mini congestion in there. That one breaks out. That's good. That's the higher low, but it broke the signal bar, which is this one. So we're just waiting still. And then here's the failed second entry short, and this is another one that I really considered taking this trade. And this one fails. I don't see too many ways you would have skipped this trade, just to be completely fair. I think that, I think that you just have to have noticed that prices kept moving down and we couldn't get above this EMA. So that's not good. I think if you would have entered the trade, let's say you enter that trade there, and then you enter and then you see this. So that's step one, is that you entered it, it broke above, but then it closed above. For these failed second entries, you want to see them close above. So that's your first red sign that, okay, I need to exit at the highs, exit at break even plus one, tighten my stop. That's step one. Then on this next bar, it went lower and then kind of set up like it's going to give another push. So you could possibly, if prices break above this bar, you could move your stop one bar below here. So now it's a little bit better exposure control. And then it breaks one above. So maybe your break even plus one, that might get filled to plus one. The break even, you got out, and then you would have just been out either way on this bar. So there's not much more to say on that one if you would have taken that trade, other than, we weren't above the EMA. We still were kind of going lower. And when you saw this close inside, you're trying to tighten this position up. Okay, to push. And so now it's just getting so noisy that, we're not really, we're not looking for trades in there. I'd rather wait for the obvious ones. These both were like really good trades. Just wait for the obvious ones. I want to see a breakout and then a pullback, or a breakout, pullback, and start going short. Something like that. Here's the breakout. Let's see if it pulls back. See, that was a little bit of a pullback. I'm going to go ahead and kind of give that one a line. And then that one shoots off. It's just a first entry, nothing there. Here's like a hidden second entry off this low. First entry, when prices break below there, that's a second entry. I'm going to say that's really aggressive in this context after this big move, but I'm kind of expecting prices to test this this low. So that's why I'd go short there. But it's really aggressive. It's congestion for sure. Not the best place to go short. But you get a test of that low and another pretty good trade. And then if you look at the big picture, it broke the rapport we wanted, but a leg up, breakout, move to a new high, and now we're getting a leg down. You can see that. Lots of movement, but not so many trades. It's been really noisy today. Off here, this is just a short at the lows. There's nothing I like there. Off the count, I mean, the count is maybe at this double top, so it happened, up here if you were looking. So there's no count that I can really take for this trade right now, other than the second entry. If it bounces and sets up again, it doesn't. All this is just too risky going short there. Let's see if we do have a measured move come in, how far away we are from it. So if this is going to be a measured move, we're just a few points away. There you go. You get the measured move. You know, if you were in here, this is pretty sweet. Not too many places. You're just going short at the low, so got to be pretty careful with that. Just got to wait it out. First entry, that fails. Here you get the higher low. Let's see if this next bar is a little better, if it can close above. It's kind of closing above. Let's say that this is our trend there. So I mean, if we get a break above here, I'd consider going long. Doesn't happen, doesn't happen. Now we're getting back below here, so let's just be patient. This is giving us a pretty decent leg. But even this, you know, like that was a second entry short. It's not a great signal bar. Matching lows. You wouldn't have really been able to get short there. I don't want to get long above this bar either. We're kind of too far. I want to see higher low, second entry sort of thing. And we don't even get it. And then we actually make a new low before getting back there. So that makes me think of two things. Either this channel was a spike, a breakout, move to a new high, or we have something that's going more like this. And then lastly, off these highs, I don't like how it doesn't fit, you know. That would have been too late if you got that line that way. It would have been too late anyway to use it. So let's see what it looks like off the lows and where that fits. And that fits a little better there. So I'd say it's something like that. You know, you got the breakout side, now you're getting a move to a new low. So now that we have this break move to a new low, all of our shorts are getting kind of risky. So we need to be careful trying to go short. Get a little push. It's off this high. First entry, that failed. Here's the second entry right there. From here, 92.25, you can exit with, you know, 2 ticks before the low. On the stop, you have 1 tick before the low. So you can exit before you get to the lows. I'm willing to take that. Just got to be in on a limit or a stop. I wouldn't go. Just make sure you can exit before getting to the low. And that thing goes exactly to the low and bounces. And that's exactly why you got to be careful going short here. It worked all these times, but you don't know it's going to do any of this. So this is the only predictable place, and it doesn't give you much. So we started below, closed above, broke a swing right here. I see a failed second entry, double bottom, went lower, broke above. Let's buy right there. And I mean, this is a huge move from some news that probably came out. So we're going to see if we take some of it back. That was a pretty good trade. Got you out. It pulls back. That's the first entry. Pulls back. Here's a second entry, but we kind of had 2 big legs. It's underneath the EMA. Would have worked. Could have bought there. Then here's the failed second entry off this low because it's lower than here. First entry fails, then it breaks lower there, and that fails. And it works out. And it's funny, that one was so close. If we zoom in, we'll put an arrow too. Here's that failed second entry I was talking about. You know, you probably would have entered right there, right? And then it breaks and then closes below. So right there, our protocol is saying, okay, this might be a failure. You're so far into this that it's like if it comes back to your break even, I mean, you might as well hold it. All you can really do is just bring your stop up, and it never would have got your stop if you had it at 30.94. Um, and then you can exit this trade with a pretty good win. So if you follow the rules, price action will usually uh, keep you safe. Keep you safe from the losses. So I see a trend maybe through there. And if you look, you kind of had to break, move to a new high sort of thing. I know we accidentally scooted up a little bit, so I'll catch us up. But let's do our trend line somewhere off of there, somewhere like there, and we can make it come off of these highs. So off this low, that was the failed second entry. That goes. This is a just a trigger. You know, you're a little close to this high side, you're coming off a touch. You need to wait to come back over to this side. That's a first entry, bad signal bar, nothing there. And then this is a second entry. It broke above this bar right here. So this is our signal bar. It's not that great, but this is a really strong bull bar. And it's a second entry, move up, break. Look at this, 2 legs. First leg, pull back, second leg. It's going to be aggressive to take that. And if you can, get a little limit order right there. So if it ticks back, you can get in. And your stop, this is interesting. If you entered here, this is your signal bar, but it's an inside bar to this doji. So your stop should have been below these bars 1 tick. And once again, price action came really close. But today was one of those days, you know, when you see like this range and stuff and all the wicks and stuff. It's just kind of a nasty and noisy day. Off these lows, see this low? That's a first entry that fails. Second entry. So when prices break above this green bar, I mean, if you didn't get in here, and that's always the funny thing about these types of trades. This was the second entry, and we said, it's not that great of a trade. But right after, you get this failed second entry, which is a way better trade, and you wouldn't have had to put up with this pullback. So sometimes it's just like, if it's a nasty looking trade, just skip it because a better trade is coming. And it never broke above, so you're not in. But then there, it broke above. But actually, to be fair, it moved past our lows, so I wouldn't buy it anymore. Whether it works or not, just it has to stay above our established lows, you know. And you can look at this a little bit like it was like a breakout sort of thing, but then that wasn't really that great of a signal bar. So honestly, once it broke below here, in this instance, the trade would have been canceled, which also would have invalidated this trade as well. So you probably would have lost money on there. I think looking back, you know, you see the congestion. We were saying it was kind of aggressive and nasty. If you entered on a limit, you actually got out. If you entered on a limit order, 3,100, you would have got out. So your limits were fine. Anything else got stopped out. So there you get a little move up. There's a first entry to this high, this new high that's been established. And then here's a trade that we like. This is probably what we were waiting for over here, but that's the one that we want. It hits our analysis on so many levels. Off this low, first entry, second entry, failure when it breaks above. Off this high, first entry, second entry when it breaks above. Really strong signal bar. Off the EMA, we haven't tested these highs yet, and we go right to them. So that would have been the trade. That would have been the trade you really wanted. And if you would have kept your stop tight over here, you know, you're making it back on this trade, so no real stress. But that's the trade you wanted. That one goes. It's 11:27, so there's like 30 minutes left. I'm not sure how many more trades there were. But off those three lows, let's see if we get something off this top here. That could be it. And then there could be one going more off these two highs. But let's see if this holds prices. It breaks out. If you move it higher, yeah, I mean, it still breaks out. But you can see how it's interacting with the stems, and it's usually not a coincidence when it makes sort of these perfect moves in terms of on one side, then it goes over, then closes exactly on the other side. That's usually a good sign. And this thing's just kind of going higher. So because this channel isn't quite giving me what I want, let's do it off these lows and see if we can bring that over to the top. Right there. Off this low, first entry. So here was the failed second entry, but it was like into this line. It would have been a little aggressive, not touching the EMA or our bottom line at the time. So it would have been a little aggressive going long there. This is just a first entry. Here's kind of a second entry, but we kind of just had to break out. Yeah, that one doesn't work because we're coming off this breakout. We need to move down in over here a little bit. And really, with this channel, I think the main channel was this one, this first one we made. That's why I usually don't like charting the second leg, because I tend to see that second leg as just an extension of the first leg. Because if we measure this move and then bring it over, I mean, almost exactly, and it turns around. So that's why sometimes I don't like charting that, because it kind of confuses you. I'd much rather see this as got a channel, two-legged pullback, move to a new high. We're looking for a reversal. And it did push up a little bit, but at least seeing this leg, I see it a little easier when I think of it like this. I wonder where this line actually is. Maybe it's up here. It's kind of hard to find this one right now. And maybe the midline somewhere in here. But that's pretty much 12 o'clock. Yeah, right there. A lot of price action. Not that many trades, to be honest. So, you have to be a little patient if you didn't catch some of these early ones. But I didn't see that many, quote unquote, easy trades today. So just be patient. There'll be more trades tomorrow. And you see that could be a better line. See how it turns down there, and now we're getting the pullback. So I like that. But yeah, that's pretty much all we got for today. We're going to be back to do it again tomorrow. Until then, I'm going to catch y'all later. Comment, DM, email, let me know questions. I might have answers. See y'all.